Jean-Claude Van Damme. He always makes an impact. Now, get ready for double impact.
There's two of them. Think about it.
Van Damme times two.
He looks exactly like you.
Me?
Twin brothers reunited on a mission.
Watch my back.
To avenge their parents' death. One packs a punch. One packs a piece.
You're good to me.
Together, they deliver double impact.
Excuse me.
From Hollywood to the Far East. On land. On sea. And in the air. They're damn quick.
Express service.
Damn cool. Damn hot.
So now what do we do? That's what I love about you.
Van Damme times two. Double the fun.
I would never in my life wear black silk underwear. I'm with you on that one.
And double the Van Damage. Double impact.
What's the business? This is Rob Lee from Mastermind Team's Robcast, and this is not that. This is Let's Watch It Again. This is our movie review podcast, and today I have a special guest. I have my dad. I have the original Rob here. So say hi to the fine folks, Dad.
Good afternoon.
He's dating it. He's doing it like a pro. So what we're gonna review is a movie that I blame you. I blame you for my predilection towards action movies. I enjoy action movies because of your Friday trips to Blockbusters, and this was one of the movies that was on the top of the list. It was Jean-Claude Van Damme's classic Double Impact. So Double Impact it's a Van Damme movie, and it's like in that early... This movie's 30 years old, by the way. That's why we're covering it. This might be my favorite Van Damme movie. I don't know where it ranks for you, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But just this is the first instance where you get the twins. I'm playing two people, and they kind of did it really well if you think about it. So now... From what you recollect, right? Because you've watched this recently, and I watched it today because I'm a slacker. So from what you recollect, what I'm going to do is I'll do the synopsis of the movie, and you tell me if that is accurate. Does that pay justice? Did that give justice to what this movie is about? How's that sound?
Yeah, that works.
All right. I'm going to try to do it dramatically. This is what people enjoy. Twin brothers are separated when their parents are murdered 25 years ago. Later, they reunite to avenge their parents' deaths. Jean-Claude Van Damme plays dual roles as Alex and Chad, twins separated at the death of their parents. Chad raised by a family retainer in Paris. Alex becomes a petty crook in Hong Kong. Seeing a picture of Alex, Chad rejoins him and convinces him that a rival in Hong Kong is also the man that killed their parents. Alex is suspicious of Chad, especially when it comes to his girlfriend. Double impact. So, is that accurate for this movie?
He's a little jealous.
You see, now, because you're Rudy and my dad, Rudy always does this thing. And fuck you, Rudy, for this, by the way, because you're making me bring this up. Whenever there's brothers in movies, Rudy always says, because it's about brothers. So you replace Rudy for this movie.
Okay.
And Rudy would always say, whenever there's the asshole brother, that's me, and he's the good brother. And I'm like, what is this? So Rudy would always say that I'm Chad, that I'm just being rough. I'm the one with the girlfriend, but I don't trust anybody. And if we recall correctly, in the beginning of this movie, Daniela, Chad's girlfriend, grabs Alex's dick.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, Alex's girlfriend grabs Chad's dick. And it was like, oh, so boxers. Which results in I believe Alex calling him the F word. He threw the word fag around. I was like, all right, it's a bit rough.
Because that was a thing of him being a little bit jealous that his lookalike has made an impression on his girl.
And notice, if you remember, there's two scenes when anybody's doing some wild shit with Daniela. Alex's go-to is a headbutt.
Yeah.
He will headbutt your ass. He did it to the guy that was obviously... It got a little rapey in that boiler room. I was like, what the fuck is about to happen? And he's popping the behind a headbutt. And he did the same thing to Chad earlier in the movie. So, the movie stars Jean-Claude Van Damme and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Right.
With Jeffrey Lewis, who's Frank. He's the not dad.
Right.
He's that fake uncle or what have you. It's directed by Sheldon Lettich, who worked with Van Damme multiple times. I believe he worked on like Universal Soldier and a bunch of other stuff. He's like his chosen director.
His is his mentor.
Well, I think sometimes, like, for Van Damme, I think what he does is a lot of choreography in these movies. So he just needs someone that can capture what he's doing.
Right.
So he'll just bring in somebody. It's like, look, can you direct action sequences? I'll choreograph them. Can you direct them? So, excuse me. This movie came out in August 9th, 1991. It was a Labor Day release, so it had that 3-day weekend kind of vibe. It opened at $7.5 million with a budget of $16 million. And internationally, because Hong Kong movie, you know, it was marketed as such. Van Damme was doing well here, but I think the movie here made $25 million, but internationally it made $80 million. Off of a $16 million budget, so that they made 5 times what they paid for the movie. The Double Impact was a commercial hit. It and spotted at number 2 at the box office in the U.S. It 7.5 in its opening 3-day weekend. By August 20th, 1991, 11 days after the initial release, this increased, so it doubled. Essentially, just over double, increased to 15.3 million. So in 11 days, it opened at 7.5 and then went to 15.3 within the first 11 days of opening.
Right.
According to Box Office Mojo, domestic receipts totaled $30.1 million by the end of the film's theatrical run. So now this movie is an action movie. There's guns everywhere. There's just indiscriminate bad guys, just dudes with military hats just getting shot on islands. So one of the things that I tried to throw in there, and I had to look for this, I look for body counts in movies. How many people did they kill? How many people were killed in this movie?
We as somewhat critics, you like the excitement of action movies.
Yeah.
A born action movie.
It's not an action movie.
It's not an action movie. It's a waste of your time.
You know what I'll call it? An inaction movie. It's just like there's no movement. So I want to say when we did Desperado, I think the body count was like 63 or something because we were just counting. And the funny thing about that movie, they only had 2 stuntmen. So Antonio Banderas, in his press stuff, he was like, I killed the same guy over and over again. So the body count in this movie is 35. Not too high. And they have a breakdown of who killed so many people. So Alex, of course, killed 16 people and Chad killed 8. So, you know, Alex just living up to his reputation as being a crook. So the movie has this tagline. It's not double the Van Damage, which is in the trailer, which should have been the tagline. The movie's tagline is feel the impact. It could have been better. It should have been better.
Yeah.
But it's 1991 and... I mean, I was 6. I don't know what the hell I was doing at that time. It was just, So this marks the third collaboration, as I touched on before, with Sheldon Lettich. That was the director with Van Damme. The previous 2 were Bloodsport and Lionheart. And they came out in I think Bloodsport was 88 and Lionheart was maybe 90. And that has a different name in different markets. So this is the second collaboration with Jean-Claude and Bolo Young. Can you name the other movie? It's a tournament-related movie.
Oh, Bloodsport?
You're damn right, it is. You have either Bloodsport or Kickboxer.
Right.
Or, to a lesser extent, The Quest. And we don't really talk about The Quest around here.
Okay.
Due to a strong friendship between the actors on the set of Bloodsport in 1988, Jean-Claude Van Damme wanted no one but Bolo to play a villain. He was like, look, Bolo's got to be in this movie. And I believe he got the nickname Bolo from Bruce Lee. That's who gave him the nickname.
Well, pretty much all of Van Damme, the action figures that actors that you see today, they are feeding off what Bruce Lee initially put out there.
Yeah.
And Bruce Lee was the one that opened the door for a lot of these young actors to, put out their style of martial arts.
Yeah, I mean, it's the frenetic, the pace of these things. I think, like, several people kind of owe something, and I think they do give him that credit, too. There's a lot of reverence when it comes to Bruce Lee. Like, one can argue any dude that's doing a martial art movie, the fact that it's a martial art movie and it's being put out there to our audience, you have to credit Bruce Lee in some way, shape, or form for that even being a thing. You know what I mean?
Because Bruce Lee was a mentor in his own rights to a lot of the young ones.
Yeah.
And their career has grown from his knowledge and the things that he did to, pave the way.
Yeah. So Van Damme talked about his personal life, right? And he made the comparison because he's playing two roles in this movie. He made this assessment. He said that his real life personality is closer to Chad than Alex. He said he's not a guy that's just cold and quiet and going around kicking butt. He said he's just more like, I like to wear silk boxers and lavender shirts. That's Van Damme's real life. He's European. Let that man live. Van Damme wanted to play twins to help change his image. One of them is going to be violent and the other one is going to be not. I want the audience to see the contrast in my work. And he said the picture has comedy, romance, and a love story. It's not all action and fighting. When I'm on screen, when I fight on screen, I want to blend dancing and fighting, and grace plus power is very nice. So in his mind, him showing, because he has to do some of these works. Like if you think about the fight scene between Chad and between Alex, Van Damme is on both sides of that. So he has to shoot it as the person attacking and then reshoot it as the person being hit. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So he's doing extra work in these movies where he's playing multiple roles, especially when they interact. And they tried their damnedest. So for 1991, in those scenes where they're together, like when they're in the nightclub and the nightclub explosion and all of that stuff happens, and Zhang, he's like, there's two of them.
Yeah.
And you see them both standing there, and I was like, all right, that's a really good effect for 1991.
Yeah, that was definitely a double take there.
Yeah, it's still pretty good. In 2010, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Bolo Young were given a martial arts demonstration, and Van Damme said hopefully one day he and Young will put together a project together, Double Impact 2. And maybe Young will play his friend and not his enemy. In a 2012 interview promoting Expendables 2, Van Damme mentioned that he would like to make another Double Impact movie, but with a more serious tone. During the interview, he also gave a rough idea of the plot. Two twins, one is coming back from Asia to Los Angeles to help his brother, who is a con artist, pretending to be a Hollywood producer, and he's in trouble with the mob. The Double Impact 2 script was written by Van Damme and Sheldon Lettich. His man comes back. And who co-wrote Bloodsport and Double Impact. So he's his collaborator, Latish. Van Damme said, hopefully somebody is smart enough, like an agent or a producer, that they can put that all together. I'm excited about it, It didn't happen. Nothing's coming. Let's see. Director Albert Pion was briefly approached to do this project. And it was going to be called The Corsican Brothers in the late 80s. So this movie could have came out in the 80s. And just they felt it was a little too far-fetched and it wasn't quite the right time for it. And the film is loosely based on Alexandre Dumas, so the the Count of Monte Cristo, Three Musketeers, that dude, on his novel, the Corsican Brothers, that they can feel what the other one feels, the twins and all of that stuff. The film contains multiple similarities to the Double Dragon video game, including concept of martial arts twins and archetypes and lesser villains. Let's see what else we have here. The film was marketed as two twin brother characters, Chad and Alex and Chad Wagner, both played by Van Damme, and with the tagline, "One packs a piece, the other one packs a punch." Marketing was terrible back then.
Yeah.
This is stated in the movie, in commercials, and on the poster. The entire description, however, can only apply to Alex, who's shown to have skills with firearm and street fighting throughout the film. Chad, the lighter personality of the two, has a black belt in karate, but is quick on his feet. And you could tell who's the better fighter in the movie, like, from the standpoint of, put it this way, you're watching the movie, right? If they never met until, like, they're adults, why their fighting styles kind of similar? How y'all practicing the same fighting styles that never met?
Yeah.
So you have to tweak it just a little bit. Like, you can see that Alex is a little dirtier in his fighting because he's the one that throws Chad off when they're fighting in the house. And he throws him off the ledge and he just starts punching him up against this wall.
I mean, it's strange that the two of them trained into the martial arts.
Right.
That had no connections with each other for 25 years.
So here's another thing. I like how, because this is one of the Van Damme tropes that you got to have in there in his movies. You have to find a clumsy way to explain why he has a French accent no one else does. You have to clumsily explain it. So I can describe both of them to you. So remember, both of his parents sound British.
They were British, but one has Asian accent.
No, both of them have British accents. So put it this way: when they leave, remember the nurse drops off Alex at like the church, and a lady says "Bonjour," and I was like, "That's their way of saying she's French." Are you kidding me? And when they talk to Chad, and you have Frank, it's like, "Yeah, I raised you in France." I was like, "Oh my god, this is so whack."
But you raised him in France.
But he lived with you. Why doesn't he have an American accent?
Yeah, because you are American.
And his wig was really bad in the beginning, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
His wig was terrible.
It was a little crooked.
But I will say this. The dude that played their dad looked a lot like Van Damme.
It's possible.
He looked a lot like him. Like, that was good casting on that part. I did not like... Now, this is just me going extra with it. Now... And in the beginning sequence, right, when they kill the parents. So when Bolo Young says, "Oh, you'll never know where they going anyway," and he shotgun blast the mother.
Right.
Why does she look like Jackie O? But she got the Kennedy ending.
Right.
I was like, is that her fucking head right there? I was like, holy shit.
So when he blasted with the
shotgun in the face,
it's supposed to blow the top of her head off.
Yeah. And I was like,
that's not what you seen.
I don't know what I saw. I was not happy about it.
Looked like a can of stewed tomatoes.
Well, true. It looked like Ricky's chest from like Boys in the Hood.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lateach later recalled the concept of Van Damme playing twins was so successful that other producers wanted him to repeat this, either doubles of himself or twins. There have been 3 movies where Van Damme has either played multiple roles or twins outside of Double Impact. This is a trick of his. I'll name them for you. Time Cop, because he runs into himself in the past.
Right.
Maximum Risk, I think he has a twin in this movie. I think that's with Natasha Henstridge.
What was that?
This was in that I think this was like late 90s, mid to late 90s. I don't remember that movie well. It's not on my top Van Damme movies. Let's see. Because you got to know these things. And let's see. Maximum Risk. I got to type in Van Damme because this is not on anyone's list. That was 96.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was 96. I was not a fan. Yeah, Natasha Henstridge. This is the cover.
And what was the third movie?
The third movie was Replicant. I believe he's an alien. Let's see what Replicant is. That's 2001. And it was the same director who directed Maximum Risk. So, and this is like the beginning of his direct-to-video only kind of run.
Isn't it one other movie?
Like Van Damme is twins?
Yes.
Let's see. I like how I typed in Van Damme is twins and then like a list of things came up. Or Van Damme and six. So it's only 3 movies apparently, but it's like 3 movies, 6 Van Dammes. And of course they have Double Impact on here, Maximum Risk, Replicant. I think Replicant is that last one. And Replicant is, you remember the 6th Day, that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? I think
Right.
It came out around the same time in a similar plot. So we have that. Now, what I like to do is I can go into questions and ask you related to this movie, or we can talk about our favorite scenes first. And then I got some observations for you that I've made about this movie. So
Okay.
which ones do you want to go with? Do you want to go with the questions? You want to go with favorite scenes? Or do you want to go with the observations?
All 3.
All right, so let's start off with observations. Like I said earlier, Rudy says the whole thing that, you know, between the 2 brothers, I'll give him that. I'm probably Alex. It's fine. It's fine. I'll give him that. And this is another reason why I might be Alex. He uses and he drinks something that I drink a lot of. He uses Johnny Walker bottles in that nightclub scene so many fucking times.
Yeah, as a weapon.
Yes, he drinks. Remember when he drinks the glass and then he smashes it and then hits the dude with a bottle? And what is he drinking when he thinks that Danielle and like Chad are fucking on a boat? Johnny Walker Red. He's just pissed. And I was like, all right, this is looking real familiar.
And that was pretty much a thing of jealousy.
Yes, it was just jealousy and insecurity. It was insecurity.
Yeah. I mean, if you felt threatened, I mean, that's your brother.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't know this motherfucker. I don't know this nigga. Because you saw the look when he gave him when they were eating, and they were seeing the frogs being butchered, and Chad was like, "What's this supposed to make my dick bigger or something?" And he looks at him like, "The fuck?" He gives him a dirty ass look. Another thing. So I think these are, and you've seen a lot of Van Damme movies, so I think you'll get this. So I think certain movies, action movies, but specific movies for certain actors have traits that have to be in them, right?
Right.
So I think Van Damme movies always have to have these traits in it. There has to be a sex scene. Somebody's getting fucked. I don't care who it is. Somebody's getting fucked. It might be in someone's mind. Might be on a boat. I don't know. Someone's having sex. Might be in a village. Tung Po might be there. Who knows? Also, Van Damme has to do a split in the movie. He has to do a full split.
Yeah.
Because I was like, can we get off of his ass for a few minutes, please?
That's his trademark.
That's his trademark. And the thing is, when you can do it, you're like, look, I got to show you every time.
Even though him being at the age he is, he can still do certain things.
Yeah, he can still do it. I mean, at that time, he's like 31.
Yeah.
So he was just like, you know, I'm living my best life. Probably still coked out of his mind because he had a wild coke habit in the 90s.
Right?
Yeah. Especially in like Street Fighter, he was out of his fucking mind. Kicks.
But it wasn't publicized.
Oh, it was. We reviewed it in the podcast. He got married. He was dating. He was like having sex with one of his coworkers on set, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to show up today. My muscles aren't ready." It's like, you were out all last night in Hong Kong. It's fine. Another thing that's going to happen: kicks. Van Damme doesn't throw a lot of punches, but he throws a lot of fucking kicks. He likes using his legs. When he can punch you, he will kick you. That's what it does. I think the only punches that were thrown in this movie was Bolo throwing punches to people's stomachs. Because he did that a lot. I touched on this one before. Twins, because he's done it multiple times in the movie. That becomes a theme for him. And lastly, vague French background. It's like they try hard. Like, remember in, Hard Target? Where they made him Creole?
Right.
They tried their damnedest to get over something French without saying, yeah, he's just a French guy. Like, nah.
But he's not French, he's Belgian.
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, they don't use his heritage as being a Belgian.
Because it doesn't work. It doesn't, like, who knows where Belgium is at? You know what I mean? However, they do call them the muscles from Brussels.
Oh, okay.
That's the one thing they do call them. But, you know, but the accent, if one were to break it down, like, you know how some people can't tell what a British accent is? If you hear somebody that's Welsh, you're like, oh, he's British. And like, no, he's from Welsh. He's from Wales.
Right.
So, or Australian and so on. Some of these things, they kind of just go together.
I mean, you know, people have a problem with distinguishing the various countries.
Yeah.
In their concept of you're white or you're black.
Yeah.
They don't see no other countries involved.
They break it down to ethnicity versus, you know, anything else. And I think the other reason that this movie was able to be shot as cheaply as it was, I mean, I think it would cost $16 million, but a lot of it went to Van Damme. Because he was popping in the 90s. They shot it on set. They probably paid Jeffrey Lewis. They paid Van Damme. They probably paid him twice because he was like, look, I'm doing 2 roles. But all of these extras.
But they didn't have a very large location.
Yeah, they would probably in Hong Kong or, you know, a jungle at one point. It's good. You're fine. You could pay your own location. It's cheap there. As long as you have people that are from that area, you're good.
I mean, you might have had a resort that you had an exclusive area of the resort that you paid filming something here that I don't need outside people.
They may have paid kickbacks so you don't have the local people interfering with your shit because, you know,
If they was filtered out.
Yeah, it's probably like, look, you know, if you want to do this movie here, we're going to need $6 million.
Right.
You know, no problems. Nobody's going to bother you. You get your shooting done and all of that stuff. Let's see what else we got here. So now I got questions for you. So, like I said before, you've seen a lot of Van Damme movies. You're me and Rudy's entry point into this, for context. Where does this rank at as far as your favorite Van Damme movies?
Out of the
ones that you've seen, is this like in your top 3, your top 5, top 10?
I give Double Impact in the top 5.
Yeah.
It was, at the time it came out, it was very good. It was exciting, a lot of action. You know, this is what people was looking for as far as entertainment, and it did the job that needed to be done at that time.
It's definitely, I think, one of those things where, if I remember correctly, it would be one of those moves of, I'm going to Blockbusters, I'm going to get like four movies, and this is going to be part of the weekend, let's get some popcorn, let's make this happen. And yeah, I have to put this up there in probably my top 3 because you get 2 Van Dammes in it, and this is the best execution of that. And Hard Target is probably my number 1. I like Hard Target a lot, but this is up there, what have you. Like, this is in that top 3 where, because I feel like some of the ones like Knockoff wasn't good, and what was the other one? Knockoff wasn't good. I think that was the one with Dennis Rodman. I was like, look, the drugs.
No,
the drugs are stacking up.
And what's the one he did? He was a security officer at
oh, you talking about the hockey?
That was trash.
Yeah, at a point, certain things, choices were made that weren't in, I think, his best interest. So I'll put it this way. So I'm going to go, Double Team was the one with Dennis Rodman.
Right.
Knockoff was with Rob Schneider, I believe.
Right.
So I'm going to give you from 88 through, I'll give you from 88 through about 94. Because 94, that was when he had started having his drug problems that were really public. And that was when Street Fighter came out. So in 88, you had Bloodsport and Black Eagle was released. And you know it already came out. Then you had Cyborg in 89, Kickboxer in 89, Lionheart, Death Warrant in 90, 91 Double Impact, 92 Universal Soldier, 93 Nowhere to Run, and Hard Target. And number 94 was Time Cop and Street Fighter. And your favorite, Sudden Death, that was the hockey one in 95 with The Quest that came out that same year. I think my top 3 have to be Hard Target, Time Cop, and Double Impact. Time Cop is really good.
I like Black Eagle.
Well, that's Sho Kasagi's movie, though, right?
Right. That was introducing him as...
And he was a villain in it.
As a action villain.
Mm-hmm.
Time Cop.
Time Cop is really good.
Like that very much.
Universal Soldier's up there. I think that's one of hers.
And Universal Soldier shedded a lot of stuff on what was going on in this country at that time with the returning soldiers from the Vietnam War.
So when they started, and also I will say I liked his. It's not his movie, but I liked him. His return in The Expendables 2. When he played John Vallon.
Right.
Because that was his first movie since 1999. That movie came out in 2012. That was his first movie since 1999 that was not VOD, was not video on demand or direct to video. That was his first major release in 13 years. So. Now, I want to talk about, and we're going to have all of these added in post, but obviously, there's a few scenes in the movie that I like, and if you have any, please describe them, we'll put them in post. But I have the early sequences when I think Alex is trying to check Chad and Frank to see if they know what they're doing. When they have the whole boat transaction, it's like they're selling the illegal cars on the boat. Mm-hmm.
This is the Hong Kong Marine Police. Prepare to have your vessel boarded and served.
You set us up. No Mercedes, no cash.
Drop it. Get your asses off the boat.
And they have to do the whole fight sequence, and you just see Frank come out and just shoot the fucking cars and blow them up that they're being chased by the Hong Kong National Guard or whatever.
Yeah.
And after all of that goes down, he says this great line, puts the cigar in his mouth. Yeah, welcome to Hong Kong. It's like he finally accepted, all right, I might be down for this. Because previously, all it was violence, and why is my girlfriend's dick in your hand?
He seen that his brother knew what he was doing.
Uh-huh. Let's see, what else we have in here? I got a few others. Let me pull up this next one. This next one is... So this is after the whole headbutt thing, right? Initially. So...
Look like me? You, of all people, should know I would never in my life wear black silk underwear.
Wait.
Look at it. Fucking Frankie. What's going on here?
Chad, he's your brother. Look at him. For Christ's sake, look at him. Just take a look at him. He's your twin brother.
When he's just running down, why we're not brothers. It's like, you're fucking boxers and shit like that, and they're trying to explain it, and he's like, he's not a brother of mine. He's just, refusing that. It's like, you can just look at him, you look exactly the same. So I think that's a good one, because it kind of gets across the movie early on.
Oh, he was jealous of his brother because he seen him and his brother, and darn, the two of us.
Well, I mean,
having an eye for the same woman.
Alex didn't have the flavor, though. That's what it was. He was hating on Chad's pastels. He came there with his California pastels on, and all Chad is wearing is sweaty black T-shirts and leather boots.
And his girl was...
I mean, she had titties.
Really feeling him.
Yeah, she literally.
Especially when she reached and grabbed his junk. She's
he was like, yeah, I got something really big for you. I was like, clearly Chad is trying to fuck all of these chicks that he's instructing. Because when he's stretching the one chick out in the beginning, he's like, yeah, can you feel that? And I was like, what the fuck is this? It's like, what are we doing here?
Notice I can do all this because I have big
legs. Yeah. He's like, I do my karate. And then he just goes into a split. And I'm like, oh my. It's like, I hate these chicks. And then immediately Frank's like, we need you to go downstairs and slap this dude around. Need you to teach his karate class.
Yeah, you need to show him that.
He slapped the shit out of this dude. But with his foot, though.
Yeah, but I'm that person here.
Because what did he say? He's like, I want you to see one of your kicks. He's like, what kicks? He just kicked the shit out of him. One thing that I like, this was, I think, at the point where, and it's not even a full scene. It's a set piece. So when they first, I think they fuck up. So this is after, I think this is after Chad gets beat up initially by like Bolo and Zhang and all of that shit when they think he's Alex and they offer him a job. And you finally see Bolo just beat the fuck out of him. When they go to the docks and they blow up a bunch of shit at the docks. And it was great because they're leaving after Jeffrey Lewis blows a bunch of stuff up and he's doing the sniper stuff. You know, military guy, backwards hat because he's a Vietnam veteran in the movie. And Chad is like, yeah, man, we did it. Alex looks at him like, no, you fucked up. And they keep driving.
Yeah! Hey, bro, we did it!
Did what? You fucked up!
But this was based on a lot of Vietnam exposure.
Yeah.
That this is what you were trained to do.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fixer. He's brought in, he's their retainer, so he's brought in to keep an eye on him, and it takes into account his background as a veteran or what have you. They established that, and he's done a little bit of everything, you know, reconnaissance and all of that stuff. Jeffrey Lewis was great. You know, Jeffrey Lewis works as a character in this movie. The Bolo fight. The one with him and it's kind of a rematch, if you will. Because remember, Bolo beat the shit out of Chad initially.
In the beginning.
When he was just smacking him off the damn container unit, he just kept bouncing him off the container unit. But in the second time, you know, when he electrocutes Bolo, he tries to throw the damn barrel at him, and he just misses. But then Bolo flexes. I was like, God damn, you big shit. Mm-hmm. And lastly, because of some of my predilections, and, you know, she's great, Kara.
Don't touch me! No!
Come on, love. This ain't gonna hurt.
No!
Oh, shit!
You gotta have these different villains. The, like, large, vaguely lesbian, leathered out, with the powerful legs. I was like, yo!
Yep.
When she, like, grabbed, like, she grabbed fucking, she grabbed Alice's dick, rubbed his girlfriend up in the damn office. I was like, holy shit.
She said, I want to see what you actually working with.
But I mean, because she, remember earlier when she killed the dude, she like clicked, like the dude that had the stirrups on the spurs.
Right.
That was just kicking the shit out of people. Like, he knocked the chair over and then she jumped on with those massive ass thighs and stabbed his ass to death. I was like, she's great. And I think that's another thing more for action movies, that you need to have henchmen that are really badass. You know they're going to die. You know they're not going to make it.
But he's actually the guy with the spurs.
She was a bodybuilder, so she's like a legitimate person too.
He is too.
Yeah, he's a martial artist. Because, I mean, you can tell by those kicks. Those are really good kicks. Now, this is the last thing I want to talk about. All of the scenes. You got any scenes you wanted to put in there?
No, I'm good.
You think all of those I kind of got the main ones?
Right.
The one thing that wish worked better, why was it the two old motherfuckers? You know what I mean? Like, y'all the ones that are, like, I know they got to save y'all for last, but y'all didn't look young 25 years ago. You see what I'm saying? It's like, they're running y'all down, and y'all just weren't any competition. Like when they're fighting Zhang and the other dude, the British dude or what have you. What the fuck is his name? So remember when Zhang pulled out the cane sword?
Right.
And it's like, yo, you guys are no match for them. Like, don't you think that they've talked? Like, Zhang, they knew you were trying to kill him. So, of course, you're going to die. And you kidnapped my woman and his, like, not dad. You niggas is going to die. What was it? What the hell is his name? Nigel Griffith. That's the other dude. Because remember, he gets crushed by the container unit.
Right. The container got dropped on him.
Yeah. It's just like, yo. But here's another thing I want to say about those two. Those two are the weak links in the movie, in my opinion. They are fine for villains, but they are weak links in that, why are they around shit all the time? Case in point, remember in the very beginning, when they killed the Paul and his wife, right?
The Walkers.
Yeah, the Wagners.
The Wagners. That was that name.
When they killed the Wagners, these niggas are just hanging out, smoking. And that's how Frank sees them. He's like, not you motherfuckers.
No, but they were the ones that initially put the order out to have them killed.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is, if you're boss man, you hired the triads or what have you, you send Bolo to do that, you go somewhere else. Why do you need to be there for this?
No, because they had to actually see.
No, I get it. But trust in your people. Because this is literally, like, let's say if they weren't there, right? Then Double Impact is done. Nobody is seeing. It's like, I don't know who we going after. Who do we to go after? I don't know what we going to do. Or, now this kind of worked, and I think you're right. So I think Griffith was the main dude. So if, like, I don't know how close you looked at it, but when they're at the docks, the container units, they have Zhang's initials on it. So I think the docks is his. Because it has, like, Z's on there, so I guess it's Zhang shit, right? But Griffith seemed like he was the major, because you notice when they went on the island, Zhang gets out with the military suit on, with the ascot and everything, and he's just sending people to go pick up Frank and Danielle. Griffith stays on the mainland. He's like, you handle that.
He was the money and the, what's his name?
Yeah.
He was the muscle.
Yeah, so Zhang was the muscle. That's what it was. Because even when they had that meeting, he was like, all right. You know, when they stabbed that one guy who I still don't know why they had to shake him up in the nightclub like that. It was just like, look, I'm funding this. Get your niggas in line. Get your people in line. I ain't going to say this shit again. That was the energy. That was Griffith's energy. So that's pretty much it. I mean, I think Double Impact is great. And I'm happy to have watched it. It's almost a 2-hour movie. It doesn't feel like it.
I mean, you watched the movie years ago, and to come back and see it again, a lot of points was brought forth that you never seen.
Yeah, I think when you, like, the movie's not big on story. It's barely a story in it, but there is, like, little things when you're looking for them. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, like, I think the one thing that one would look for is just instances where you can see the other double. And just this, again, the main testament for it, the main thing I remember from this movie is just how good they were at doing the twin thing. Because it wasn't one of those sequences. They shot it very well to not make it look like it's a dude with Van Damme and then a Van Damme with a dude. It made it look like suspension of belief that both of them are there at the same time.
Right.
And they do a really good job at that. It's super effective. And they get it right. And the last thing I'll say is, yeah, this was a great movie. You should watch it again. So yeah, thank you for coming on to the podcast. This is always fun.
It was very good. I was a little nervous about doing it at first, but after I came here and sit down and got relaxed, this is something that we need to do more of.
Yeah, you'll be back. We got other plans for you.
Okay.
So for my dad, original Rob, I'm lesser Rob Lee. This is Let's Watch It Again, and we just did Double Impact for its 30th anniversary. And until next time, keep watching those movies, folks.